Today I'm going to be working on a little painting of a small farmhouse that's a couple miles away from my house. And I went out to the farm and I took a few photographs and I've cobbled them together so that I have a pretty good reference to use as I'm working through the painting. Now, while I use photographs to refer to during a painting in the studio, I don't base my entire painting on the photographic reference. What I'm more after is the feeling of the place rather than an exact replica of a place. So the feeling that I get, what do I feel, what do I experience as I'm standing at the edge of the field looking at the farmhouse? So I try to capture those feelings, the moods of the place, rather than just a photographic reference. I'll use the photograph to make sure that I have perspective correct and that I make things look the way they should look, but I go further than that to create the feeling or the mood. Now it makes it harder to capture the mood when I'm doing the painting fully in my studio. I mean, I didn't start the painting out there in the fields. I did a couple of sketches, some rough notes. I also jotted down what I was feeling as I was standing there by the edge of the field. What I felt in the fields were the warmth of the sun on my skin, the cool, misty morning, and the dampness coming up from the dew. There were a few bird calls in the distance, and I fell in love. That's another thing I do, is I fall in love with every single scene that I paint, because how else can you paint something? Why should you paint something that you don't love? You shouldn't. So that's what I do. I fall in love with the scene, and I go back there and I smile, and I have great memories of just standing there. It's very contemplative, very meditative, and it was just a beautiful place, and that's what I'm going to paint today. First I will do a larger pencil sketch to work out the details and the composition, and then I'll get into the painting. So come along and enjoy this. Thanks. Here are the sketches and notes I made in the field. Quick, just a few minutes to capture the feeling of the place. Now that I'm back in the studio, I'm creating another pencil sketch, trying to get in the big shapes and the values. I'm painting on a small linen canvas today. This is the Centurion linen painting panel, just a 9 by 12. I like to use Centurion. I use it a lot. So I'm starting out with a very, very wet, drippy sketch. It's a combination of oil paint, linseed oil, and Gamsol that I'm using, just to get the big shapes in. I'm not doing any detail yet. I'll refine this as I go, but for now I'm just concentrating on getting the basics on the canvas. I love doing it this wet in the beginning. It's just fun, and it goes real fast. So here's my fan in the window trick. I don't always work this wet in the beginning. It just depends on how I feel. But this layer of paint doesn't take very long to dry because it's so wet, and so sometimes I'll use a fan to get this layer dry really fast. Now I've put the wet mixture away and I'm working with straight oil paint. Here I'm working on the initial tones to get the basic value changes. And I use the white of the canvas to get the lighter tones, and sometimes I'll use a Q-tip just to wipe away some of those areas I want to keep light. If wiping isn't light enough, I'll use a little Gamsol to make the wiping even lighter. Throughout the painting, I'll turn it upside down just to get a different view. It helps to see things I might miss otherwise. Continue to wipe the edges to get those soft edges in. And now I'm adding some notes of color. I'm still in the early phases of this, and I'll do a little bit of initial detail work around the house right now because that's the point of interest and I want to nail it. But I'll make changes later on. Knowing this, I'll keep the paint thin as I'm working out these basic shapes still and basic color notes. Getting some lights in there with my palette knife, and now I'm going to be starting to work on the sky, getting some basic color notes, darker at the top, lighter at the bottom, and then spread it out as I get those values right. And now as I'm doing the sky, I've noticed the tree shape was bad. It was stealing the drama from my point of interest, so even though the trees in my photo don't look like this, I need to change the shape so it's not as dramatic. And I'll soften those edges as I go, creating less intense grays. And I love this moody feeling that I'm getting with these grays. I do finish a lot of my paintings at this stage. It really looks nice with a gray, misty look. But the problem is, I kind of wanted a more sunny feel. So while I love this, I was thinking that I wanted more sun so that I could show how I felt when I was standing at the edge of the field. So I'm changing some of the shapes, and I'm moving the house over, and I'm dramatically changing those values of the trees in the foreground so that I get deeper shadows of a sunny morning. I'm making those background trees a little bit bluer, and I am making the grasses around the house a little bit more vibrant. Cleaning up the sky. And I'll add some lighter values to those trees. And I'm pretty much done. Thank you so much for watching. I'd love to hear from you. Please leave comments on YouTube and hit the subscribe button under the video so you won't miss any future videos. See you soon. Bye-bye.